Welcome to Commander Tilt. My name is Clark. Just a little bit about my channel. I make budget commander decks, and the idea behind this channel is that I have for a long time been playing them against each other with the hopes of trying to determine which of my decks is the best and most competitive, and also just play testing them and seeing how good they are, watching how good they're able to play, and watching the synergies that they're able to connect with. In this video, this is the second of the semi-final rounds. The winner of this will go against Joda, Archmage Eternal, in the final, and then at the end of course, that competition, we will have a victor for our first ever tournament here on Commander Tilt. Shirei, Shizo's Caretaker, is a legendary 2/2 spirit that costs 4 and a black. Whenever a creature with power 1 or less is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may return that card to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step if Shirei, Shizo's Caretaker, is still on the battlefield. Shirei's build is a mono-black aristocrat-style deck, hoping to sacrifice over and over again, sacrificing my small, tiny creatures, and then bringing them back. Their ETBs providing me value, and their death triggers providing me value. This build is very interesting. It has a variety of win conditions, and it just keeps on attacking and building value. It's such a fun deck, and it's complicated to pilot sometimes because you have to figure out, okay, when should I sacrifice this, when should I sacrifice that, how am I going to get sack outlets out there, and it's a real fun deck to play. Feather the Redeemed is a 3/4 legendary creature angel that costs red, white. She says, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So her goal in this deck is to cast instants and sorceries, combat tricks to pump Feather and her team, and then get them back into my hand so that I can cast them again over and over again. So Feather is a very fun deck to pilot. It tends to be a little aggro, but it is super fun. After much consideration, I decided to hire a commentator to help me out with my work here. I took hundreds of applications across the gamut of Magic the Gathering's characters, and I settled on a character that is perhaps one of the most knowledgeable I ever interviewed about combat and how combat happens, and I thought that would be very useful in his job as a battle commentator. He is a Boros battle shaper, and his name is Jaresh. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Jaresh, the Boros battle shaper.
My name is Jaresh, the Boros battle shaper. I've been asked to narrate this battle, and for this, I have no difficulty. The beginning of this battle began as any with typical draws and ramp and land drops. The first play of significance was perhaps on turn 4, when Shirei put down the card Genesis Chamber. Being a sacrifice deck, relatively easy for creatures to enter the battlefield. They get sacrificed and then Shirei brings them back. So Shirei started to amass an army of Mir. The next play of significance occurred when Shirei put down the Meek Stone, which doesn't allow creatures to untap unless the power is 2 or less. Very same turn he put down Revel in Riches as well, which is a win condition. Shirei continued to pressure Feather's life total, since he had an army of 1/1s that could untap. Feather used the Sunforger to search her entire deck to look for a solution to the Meek Stone and could find nothing. The next play of note was the Flesh Writher on Shirei's side. He was able to transfigure it and turn it into the Pitiless Plunderer. Now whenever another creature you control dies, he was creating a treasure. He continued sacrificing his own creatures as usual, gaining mere creatures, and then sacrificing his entire army after battle to create more mere creatures and treasures. Feather was in a sorry state. Her life total was starting to get pressured, and she had no solution for the army that was continuing to grow against her. Shirei again continued to use his same ploy. Moving to attack, he would send his entire army forward, and then he would sacrifice the entire army. In desperation, Feather drew Fumigate and decided to play it, not thinking through the consequences. She did play Sheltering Light to protect herself from the effects of Fumigate. However, the Pitiless Plunderer does not care if a creature is a token or not. 13 creatures died to the Fumigate, which means 13 treasures were created by the death of all those creatures. When Feather passed the turn, on upkeep, Shirei won the game to revel in riches because he had 21 treasures in play.
So the stage is set. Feather won the first fight, Shirei won the second, and now the winner of this next fight takes the match and will head to the finals to fight Jodah, Archmage Eternal. I wonder who will win? You'll have to watch to find out. Here's the opening hands. Feather drew Spawning Breath, Crimson Wisps, Burnished Heart, Prismatic Lens, Walking Atlas, and 2 mountains. Shirei drew Blood Artist, Jet Medallion, Pawn of Ulamog, Grim Haruspex, Spawning Pool, and 2 swamps. Feather won the die roll. Let's get started. Watashi wa bochi kokoro zashi zo no kanmi ninderu shire desu. Watashi wa mada iego ga hanasen aino de hanasen naido de. Watashi wa fututabi shiru ne watashi ni kawate anasu yo ni tanomimashita.
Friends, angels, countrymen, I come to you in dire need. You have fought with me before, and we will fight again. A dreadful spirit named Shirei invades our land. He seeks to consume all in his malice. What is worse, he cannot die, and nor do his minions. Despite our most valiant efforts, his forces return over and over to battle. Our only recourse is a desperate play. I have received intelligence that there is a planeswalker behind this incursion. If we can sever the head from the snake, the body will perish. We have reason to believe the planeswalker has a hold on Shirei, and if we can kill the planeswalker, the spirit will flee. I know not what today will bring. Will this be my last day? Will this be yours? I cannot say, but know this: we must not fail. Our foe is mighty, but so are we. We will go and we will fight. Are you with me? To arms! To arms! My draw will be a mountain. I will play the mountain and pass the turn.
Our draw for turn shall be a swarm of blood flies. We shall drop the spawning pool as our land for turn and pass.
My draw for turn will be a mountain. I will play the mountain, paying 2 mana. I will play Prismatic Lens and pass the turn.
Our draw is a Yara, first of Lochthwain. We shall throw down a swamp, and then tapping 2 mana, we shall play the card Jet Medallion. A brilliant card, and we shall pass.
Untap. My draw is the Loyal Apprentice. I will play a mountain for my land for turn and then Burnished Heart. Then I will pass the turn.
Our draw for turn is Skull Clump. Remembering to untap, we shall play a swamp for our land for turn. Then we shall tap 2 mana for Pawn of Ulamog because Jet Medallion lowers the total cost. We tap 1 mana for Skull Clamp, and we pass the turn.
First I will untap. My draw is Urabrask the Hidden. I will play Mountain for my land. Then I will tap 3 mana to sacrifice the Burnished Heart and search up 2 planes, which go into the battlefield tapped. Then I'll tap 1 mana and the prismatic lens to play Walking Atlas, and I shall pass the turn.
First we shall untap. Our draw for turn is the Swiftfoot Boots. We shall tap 1 mana for the Blood Artist because of the Jet Medallion reduction in cost. Next, we shall spend 1 mana to put the Skull Clamp on the Blood Artist. This kills the Blood Artist and allows us to draw 2 cards. Our draws are Disentomb and Whisper Silk Cloak. Next we shall attack with the Pawn of Ulamog. Remembering the sacrifice of the Blood Artist gains us an Eldrazi Spawn. Hitting for 2 damage, we pass the turn.
First I will untap. My draw is Abu Jafar. I will pay the mana for Feather, the Redeemed. Then I will pay 1 red mana for Crimson Wisps targeting Feather. This allows me to draw a card, which is Command Tower. I will play the Command Tower. Next I will tap 2 mana for Spawning Breath, doing 1 damage to Feather, and I will gain an Eldrazi Spawn. I'll tap the Prismatic Lens and a Mountain for Loyal Apprentice. 2 arms! 2 arms! Loyal Apprentice triggers, creating a Thopter token. Feather and the Thopter will attack, hitting for 4 damage.
We cannot block flyers and must take the damage.
I pass the turn.
First we shall untap. Our draw for turn is the Temple of the False God, which we shall play. Cannot activate it because we only have 4 lands. We shall tap 3 mana and sacrifice the Eldrazi Spawn for a total of 4, which is enough to pay for She-Ray because of the Jet Medallion reduction, and we pass the turn.
First I remember to put the spells back in my hand from previous turn. My draw is Expedite. Next I will tap 4 mana for Orobrask, the Hidden.
Large or small, all shall toil for the great work.
Then I will tap 2 mana for Spawning Breath, creating an Eldrazi Spawn. Next I will sacrifice 1 of the Eldrazi Spawn for Abu Jafar.
Hello? Where am I? Why am I upside down? I am so mixed up.
And I will pay 1 mana for Crimson Wisp, allowing me to draw Fist of the Anvil. Next we will sacrifice another Eldrazi Spawn for Expedite, allowing us to draw a Mountain. 2 arms! 2 arms! The Loyal Apprentice creates another Thopter. Feather, the Thopters, and Orobrask attack.
We declare no blockers.
We hit for 9 damage and pass the turn.
First we shall untap. Our draw for turn is a Swamp. We'll play the Swamp. Then we'll tap 3 mana for a Whisper Silk Cloak, and tap the 2 accompanying mana to attach the Whisper Silk Cloak to She-Ray. We shall spend 1 mana for Disentomb, putting the Blood Artist into our hand, and we pass the turn.
First we shall untap. My draw is Arrestor's Zeal. First I will play a Mountain for our land drop. Then I will play Expedite on Feather, allowing us to draw a Mountain. I will tap Walking Atlas to play the Mountain. I will tap a mana for Crimson Wisps, allowing us to draw Razia Boris Archangel, which we immediately play.
Foes, avert your eyes, and arrows, divert your paths.
2 arms! 2 arms! Feather, Razia, Orobrask, and the Thopters will attack.
We shall declare no blockers.
The spells return to my hand on end step.
Untap or draw for turn is a smothering abomination. At least it is a flyer to stop some of these accursed flyers coming at us. We shall play Smothering Abomination. Completely forgetting about the Urabask trigger, we play the Blood Artist as well. And we shall also play Ayara, First of Lochthwain. And we pass the turn.
First we shall untap. My draw is Borrowed Hostility. Two arms! Two arms! Feather, Razia, and the Thopters attack.
Shall declare blockers. I'll put the Smothering Abomination in front of Razia.
Since Feather is unblocked, I will play Arrestor's Zeal, pumping Feather to a 5-7. Then I will play Fist of Anvils, pumping Feather to a 9-7, and then we'll play Borrowed Hostility, choosing target creature gets +3/+0. Feather is now a 12-7 and does lethal damage. Victory is ours!
There you have it. Feather is the winner. So now we have our final set. It's going to be Feather the Redeemed versus Jodah, Archmage Eternal. I want to thank you for watching this video today. As of the filming of this video, I still have 0 Patreons. I suggest that you join my Patreon page. Just go to www.patreon.com/CommanderTilt. I have a variety of rewards set up, and I'm just waiting for my first Patreon to join. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe.
Here's a joke for you. Mahatma Gandhi often walked barefoot, which produced an impressive set of calluses on his feet. He also ate very little, making him rather frail, and with his odd diet, he often suffered from bad breath. This made him a super calloused, fragile mystic hexed with halitosis.